Well, I've got my bit of a project car here I've had for 4 years. It's a 84 Delta 88 Royale. Mostly everything works on here except for the air conditioning, and I deleted emissions. And by deleting, I just disconnected the AIR box. That's really bad to see. Just disconnected it. This is all hard to see. I got 650 Edelbrock. And that's about the only, I don't even know if you call that a performance modification. I guess there's a little more control behind it. I control the choke now manually. Before that was electronically controlled, I believe. Somehow, with a vacuum. Just vacuum controlled. Because if this car, if it had an electronic carburetor, I would not have been able to get this. It wouldn't have even ran, wouldn't have even tried to fire. Yeah. Was that the 307 Oldsmobile Rocket V8, which is not the same as a Chevy small block 305, but a lot of the parts can switch over, but not the exhaust manifold. That's different, and the intake manifold is different. What else? But like this alternator was from a Chevy small block. Power steering pump down here was a Chevy, actually out of a K5 Blazer from the same year, 84. It's got all LEDs except for the hood lamp. Should be on, that's weird. Get this to turn on. Yeah, LED. And these are kind of custom. These are just the halos. So the outer and the inner halos turn on as just a daytime running light, and then when you actually flip for the headlight, it does the outer ones. But when I do the high beams, it's high beams and driving lights on all four. So it's kind of insane. Like I tried to hook up all four as headlights and people kept flashing at me. And then down here, it's kind of interesting. There's an orange and an LED strip. The orange light is the original daytime running light. And then I figured out a way to unseal this. And I put a whatchamacallit. I don't have the keys. Will it do it without the keys? No. The hazards, though. Those might go. Hey. Oh, yeah, and the halos have a orange for blinker. But the LED strip is sequential. So it goes with the turn signal, the arrows. That took me about 6 hours to figure out how to unseal this box, and then I resealed it with 3M silicone. It's like marine grade silicone. And then I've done a couple of the interior lights. LED, like the voltage, my temperature, and oil pressure, which are pretty much, except for fuel gauge is like all I need, because, well, the odometer doesn't work anyway. Speedometer, odometer, 191,741 miles. And there is, got a giant hole in where my radio used to be. I stupidly upgraded. I put a touchscreen like folding, like, because this is a weird one. It's like, it's not a single den, but it's not a double den. So I put a single den with like a folding screen. It came out and flipped up. That worked until it started raining. And I have a leaky windshield. It drips water and it went down the windshield, right down behind the dash, right behind my radio. And that radio, since it's like like all new electronics, I guess, is really sensitive. It didn't like that moisture being back there. And unfortunately, I defaced this. The older radio didn't work at all. I think there was something messed up electronically. I got my racing skull, old co-worker of mine at the lake. Oh yeah, I used to drive this thing to the lake. That's where I worked every day, an hour one way, an hour back. A little thing I also added was a real 8-ball. Like, this ain't fake plastic, as it was a real 8-ball that I drilled out, and I JB welded it pretty solidly in place there. There was some, I hammered it, like it was, I drilled it just enough to where it barely fit, and then I shoved a bunch of JB weld in there. I haven't had any issues. Sometimes JB weld performs miracles, and then sometimes it cracks as soon as you look at it. Like it. And then I had to get a new map light, which these things are kind of crazy. There's a lens, like a magnetic lens in here. I can kind of see it in there. That thing is crazy. Wah. And then I wanted a vinyl roof, like hoodliner, headliner. I found the vinyl material is pretty cheap. You can get it very much at Amazon, or even Walmart sells it. But I was like, well, red duct tape, it's a vinyl material. It'll hold up, right? Like, well, kind of. It's been on here for about 2 years. And that took me about 9 hours because I wanted straight lines going across. Roof rack. The whole point of this was trying to be like a touring car. I didn't want like pro touring because that requires like suspension upgrades, driveline upgrade and stuff. Like a touring car, like, you know, pack up the family and put luggage on it. And I've had a kayak on here. What else was on here? I had a dirt bike. That was a 79 Yamaha DT 125 or something. But the engine was out. So I had the engine in a box in the trunk, and then the dirt bike was just like on its side. Curved LED light bar, which, except for that Edelbrock right there, that was probably the most expensive thing I've put on this car. They're not cheap. Like, even the cheap one, like, that was $300. And then you go to Rigid Lighting and you try to get a curved one, they're like $1,200 to $1,400 for just 300 watts. But this thing, turns night into day. I've only used it a couple times, just like camping and stuff. And yes, I have taken this car camping. There was the mini LED. I don't know if anyone noticed. Oh, it works. Oh, this one you can hear it. Where is it? Little mini LED right above the grill, below the grill. It kind of makes this thing look like a stretched out skull, like, especially like here, there's these little marks that from afar kind of look like the teeth, and then like you have the eyes. But there is a real skull on here. Demon. Or Delta. Oh, right, the Delta Demon. Oh. And that was the previous owner, the skull. And they also had, oh, that'd be hard to see. Maybe you can see it. There was like these tribal flames that had been on the car. When I bought it, he said it had been on the car for like 20 years. And he told me that it was his uncle's. What else have I done to this thing? Little dice. These door handles, it looks a little weird because it's starting to flake off. It was a lot better. This was like an enamel paint. Normally it would just be all chrome. I think it might have been red under there actually, like the wine color. I've had to, I replaced the rear seats with blue upholstery that I found from a junkyard that I'm pretty sure that car only had like 30,000 miles on it, and then someone wrecked it, which is a real bad shame. And it was front end damage too. I really wanted those front end parts, and like maybe an extra radiator would have been nice, especially for one with only 30,000 miles on it. The completely wrecked front end. And then by the time I came back, I took these seats. I wanted to get the front seats for it, but I came back and the whole car was stripped. It was like done for. It was like not even the doors left. The suspension was gone. Engine and tranny were gone. I'm not sure what transmission is in here. It's got the, it's a 4-speed. There's no overdrive, or what's it called? Yeah, no overdrive, just a 4-speed. But it's crazy the way the gears were set up. It was really tall gears. It was geared to go 140, but that engine and the carburetor, the way it was set up with the emissions and all that, there's no way it could make it. I don't even think this car would ever, I pushed it up to 100 once. Read it. 0983. This car weighs 4,900 pounds. 4,940. Minor work that I need to do, like some window trim. I want to do all the weather seals again. Redo the, like I broke the door handle and the window latch. The window goes up and down. This is with the driver and passenger, but I keep breaking the latches because it's almost like they're made out of pewter or something. Like literally, like after a few uses, it just snaps right off. And then there's, oh yeah, more demons. Demon skull. Demon. And my alien tractor beam. Which that actually does glow in the dark. Let's see if I can find the light. Get a little USB light here. USB? Is that? No, UV. Wow. No, this is a weak UV light. This is pretty bullshit. Oh, it just died. There we go. I don't know. You can see. Oh yeah. Yeah. All steel. Let me grab. I want to grab. What am I grabbing? That. I don't know. It's so weird. That's like aluminum. I don't know what that is. And then yeah, the paint is all original. And then the rooftop, I wanted it to be like rhino lined. So I did the rhino line, and then I was gonna do the paint with the rhino line, like the white rhino line. So I was gonna sand it down and do rhino line, kind of like you get the eggshell look, but with the whole body of the car. But like from afar, it would look just like white and black. When I did, I couldn't find white rhino lining, or at least not any time frame really. Like I did a rhino lining clear coat over the original base paint, and then I was going to just roll the white over that. So hopefully, like there's a little bit of texture here, but like it's not anywhere near like the roof, which you can, when you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, that's rhino lined. I gotta grab. The keys so I can open the trunk. Where are the keys? Lost my keys. Not cool. I found them. Yeah, trunk full of parts. Completely rhino lined the trunk, even under the carpet. It's a little dusty, whatever. It'll clean out nice. And then what's this? That is, I have a whole front end kit for this car. It's a running project I've had 4 years. I drove it for 2 years straight every day though. It ran and drive just fine. I just needed, like tie rod ends. They're good. Like I was still able to do alignment and all that, but I just wanted to get new like boots for it and everything, and then I didn't realize that on these old GM cars, the control arm bushings like those old pickup trucks. They're press fitted in there. And the mechanic was telling me he did an old Chevy truck where it's basically the same suspension setup in the front as this, with the coil-over and shocks, and then the lower, those are the motor mounts, transmission mount, vacuum lines. Cause I'm gonna do it all red and black for the engine bay. Move that. I'm gonna do one thing real quick though. I got a whole box. Oh, it's hard to see. Oh yeah, those are my fuck up, $100 plus fuck up. I got some resonators and then black exhaust tips that I was gonna put right before the tire there goes straight 90 degrees, and then have a dual exhaust coming out. For some reason, Oldsmobile was like, oh, there's 2 exhaust ports. It goes to like a Y bar. And then from the Y bar goes to one single pipe. But I didn't want that. Well, let's open the garage. Last time I did this, it smoked me out and I had to leave. How do I... choke out. Fuel. Start. I started it earlier. I don't know if you can hear me talking or not. Yeah, that's loud. Yeah, it's just open headers right now because I was fucking with the exhaust. I screwed up and I broke one of the bolts for the Y bar that goes to one single pipe. One of the bolts going up there, so I got to take it into my work and see if we can't drill that bolt out of there. So once I get the bolt out, I have another exhaust bolt from the kit that I bought for the new exhaust. I'm kind of just at a stuck point. Hey, I just need a few things. Air conditioning, I would like to get fixed, but it's not a necessity. And then the window trim pieces here, like the guide. It's a window guide. That's the only thing that's messed up. And you try to buy oh yeah, GM window guides from the 80s, and none of them are the same. This thing's I don't know. I bought 4 different window guides, and none of them, they all clip in, but they don't sit into my rail at all. Maybe it's just my rail. I don't know. Did I pinch it? What else needs to be done?